Hello. Welcome to the intro to Custom Solar Quotes. Before we get started, I just thought I would tell you why I'm doing this and why I broke it down into basically small little mini presentation videos of something very similar to what I do when I actually meet with either in person or online with an actual solar customer. I use the same forms, the same worksheets over and over because I found that the basics of solar math have not changed. My first couple of years I was doing this, I was actually involved in the actual permitting on the roof, actually doing the work in the attics, figuring things out. And then I became very, very obsessed with learning the actual math and being able to be accurate and projecting in the future, if I sold somebody, a certain size system, what their results would be. And we got better and better at that. Excuse me. Over. And later on, after I'd done, I don't know, 400 or 500 sales, so somewhere in there, and a lot of different products, a couple different companies, I became a sales manager, and I was trying to set up a sales class, and it was amazing to me how many of them had no idea about solar math. I mean, simple things like how many hours of usable sunlight do you have a day here in Central Florida that you can apply towards solar. Said if you put 1 kilowatt of solar panels on a roof, what would your anticipated projection going to be on just 1 kW? Okay. How do you break down an electric bill? What is the math of looking at kilowatts, kilowatt hours, and that type of stuff if you're breaking down, a customer's electric bill? And it was kind of mind-blowing to me that if they didn't know, how could they explain to a customer? Okay. And I realized I was actually onto something pretty good when one day I had a finance manager from a finance company. We dealt with quite a bit on solar loans. I'd done, I don't know, probably 200 jobs with him so far. And he called me up and he asked me, would I mind taking some referrals? I was used to getting referrals by this time, but I actually had the finance manager call me up. And he sent me to this guy. He said, this guy is going to be something that's going to ask you 40 different questions, before you get in the door. Well, I ended up selling the gentleman. We answered all his questions, and he goes, you were different. You actually said what you needed to do, proved it, and you didn't try to sell me 15 to 18 kW of solar like everyone else. Okay. And we ended up showing him other ways that he could improve the efficiency of his house to get the same or better numbers and do it for thousands of dollars less. And the next phone call I got from the sales manager, he gave me the same kind of a pitch, and then I realized he told me it was his mother, and she was a teacher, and she was a science teacher, and I think she was harder than them. The other ones that I got after, from him after that weren't quite as dramatic or difficult, but I never assumed that they'd be lay downs. I would just go in and I would just do the same presentation. I did the same worksheets over and over and over. And I believe the solar math for customers, let me get this out of the way here real quick, is so important that we take the time. And probably about 8 years ago, I came up with a basic format, and I would give this to the customer. I started using these worksheets, PDF worksheets, and whether I was in person or later on online, I'd send these out to people. I say, this is what we're going to go over. Let's make sure that we cover what's important to you. This is at least 8 or 9 years old, and this is my basic explanation. I haven't hardly changed it, I guess, in 8 years of how solar math works, on your own home. And if people can get a basic understanding of this, then it really makes the rest of everything we're trying to tell them work out. Okay, here's the point. I get so many calls over the years, and just recently had another one kind of devastating, from people that have already made a deal with someone else, and it's almost always the same thing. Someone door knocked them, they came by, they pressured them kind of into doing something, and they had no idea what they should expect. They took this one person's numbers in their view of what was going on, and was it the right thing? In most cases, no. In most cases, they have learned how to manipulate the software. Most of the software out there is pretty good now, and I'm not going to put out here how you do it, but it finally occurred to me, like, duh, how they manipulate the software. It's just, devious minds will find a way. But I get calls from homeowners that have already made a deal. Sometimes I can help them out between them and their finance company, and just give them some avenues to go through. I've helped some people get their stuff canceled because they were just out and out lied to. Their expectations were not met properly. They would just say, they would manipulate the software and they'd sell them a much smaller system and for more money, which is a double whammy of negativity. Over the last couple of years, another thing that I've tried to do, and I finally have it worked out now, is doing my own spreadsheets, is a plan that if you have over 700 or around 700 credit score, I've got a thing worked out with 2 different financing outfits where we can get your solar paid for about the same budget that you currently have in 10 years or less. Ish. I mean, it's going to be really, really close. Sometimes you have to add $10 or $15 a month to it or something like that. It depends on some other factors, but I have all this worked out. And to me, that's really, really important, because why would you want to pay for solar? Oh, and by the way, on these situations where someone does have that kind of credit score and the right kind of situation, I can save most of these people $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 or more up front right from the very beginning, and about $50,000 overall. Look, solar math is something I know, I understand. I've always wanted to be an educator. I wanted to make sure that people actually understood what they were getting. And if it wasn't going to be a good deal for them, I would be the first one just to say, hey, do you have any referrals for me? Because I don't want to sell it to you. I don't want to be the one to put it up here, because unless you just say you just want to pay cash and you want to pay for it just because you want solar. Anyhow, I'm out. Watch the other videos. One thing I can tell you is that some of this stuff is going to be boring, especially, okay? But when it's not boring when I've done all these videos and everything, and I work with you on your own house, when we have your own bill, and we've looked at everything, we figured everything out, and now it is totally about you and about, are you going to pay it off in 7 years, 10 years, or 20 years? Okay? Suddenly when it's you, your money, your house, your everything, then you'll understand. All right, so anyway, this is our intro. I do hope that at the end you decide to give us a call, send us an electric bill, and let us see if we can do a custom solar quote for you too. Thanks.